Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Why did I sing that national anthem instead of the new one? Da, 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 da. I didn't want to sing that because the death of Nigeria gradually started when we abandoned the original national anthem we had for different stupid reasons. It was written by a British woman. It wasn't original to Nigeria. Then we found a product dun, 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 that's original to Nigeria, just like corruption is original to Nigeria. And that new national anthem has seen nothing good out of Nigeria, but it has culminated in the production of the worst crooks that have ever moved into Asharok or any place of leadership in Nigeria. So I decided to sing the national anthem of my childhood, the last time when we had a semblance of a country where we were united and we were not divided and conquered. It was the last time we had respectable leaders and not clowns. I mean, clowns like these. Just watch.
Are you corrupt?
I have told Nigerians, I repeat today to Nigerians, I'm not corrupt. I don't like money. I try as much as possible not to annoy God by saying I'm honest. But with all modesty, I'm an honest Nigerian.
In the face of everybody talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, calling him a liar, saying he forges certificates, a whole lot of names we call him, rightfully or wrongfully. I want to be one of the ones who go on record to say that he doesn't lie that much. Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not lie that much. If you catch him at the right time, he'll tell you nothing but the perfect truth. Listen to this.
The cost of fuel has gone up. Food and other prices have followed it. Households and businesses struggling. Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship you face. I wish there were other ways, but there's not.
Folks, you've heard our president. There's nothing he could do. And I don't think he's lying. There's nothing he can do considering the lineup that he has surrounded himself with, which I'll bring you in a minute. Democracy has died in Nigeria. Anybody who is fooling himself and think that this drug-dealing, crime-ridden, thug-infested administration is going to bring anything worthwhile to Nigeria is in delusion. Let me summarize who is in the executive head. He's a smuggler of cocaine. He's indicted for cocaine dealing in America. He forged his certificates. The records are there, but the Supreme Court did not want to see them. He bribed governors to the tune of 150 billion naira to support him. He bribed the chairman of INEC to the tune of $10 million, not naira, to support him. He bribed the tribunal that found for him before the case went to Supreme Court. He bribed them with $50 million, not naira. He bribed the Supreme Court with $100 million. And that's who your president is. And then he's even starting to reach into the land where democracy rules in America. His dollars are starting to talk here too. However, it's not going to work. All you need to do is see what's going on with Donald Trump, and you'll understand that the money, the buck stops somewhere when it comes to America.
Venomous, he's called me disgraceful, he's called me radical, he's called me a racist, and this is only week 3. None of his behavior, which can best be described as performative, will change what's happening in the courtroom. The courtroom, as you know, where we have submitted evidence, and the evidence is clear, and that is he inflated his statements of financial interests to enrich himself and his family. And nothing will change that. Not the attacks on me or anyone. At the end of the day, we are here to seek justice, and we will seek justice. I look forward to seeing Mr. Trump again. I understand that he will be returning next week for Michael Cohen, but we are here to enforce the law, and nothing will change that. No attacks, no words. I will not give in. I will not give up. I will only serve justice and enforce the law. Thank you.
Nigerians must not give in. Nigerians must not give up until we find attorney generals across all 36 states and the federal government that are seeking nothing but justice. I want to play you a soundbite here from Dele Farotimi. And the reason it's so important is that when he's done talking, then I'll tell you the tribal implications of those sound bites. Listen to him, and then I'll come back.
Funny proverb of the Yorubas. He says, "Ìlú tí kò sófin, ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ò sí níbẹ̀." Very rigid systems of customs, taboos, laws, traditions, norms, cultures, multiple sets of guidelines by which we live. So the Yoruba mindset, the worldview, couldn't have been talking about a place where the law does not exist. So Ìlú tí kò sófin is not a place where the law does not exist. It's a place where the law does not rule. That is what the Yoruba proverb was saying and is saying. And this is what we have now achieved as a people. There are no sins, no infractions in a place ungoverned by law. It is the impunity of men that governs such places, and that is what we have today.
Ìlú tí kò sófin, ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ò sí níbẹ̀. Obodo enweghị iwu. Then onweghị onye na-adị iwu. In a land where there are no laws, then there are no sinners, there are no lawbreakers. So when Tinubu has left Lagos, where he created a lawless society that was run by, what's his name? MC Oluomo. And then he comes to the national level where he is trying to create a lawless society that's going to be run by Wike and Asari Dukubo and MC Oluomo and whichever thugs he brings from his cabal in Fulani land. There is no law breaking. It's only when you have laws that laws are broken. The only people who break laws in Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Nigeria are people who challenge him rightfully. And in a lawless society, they don't want to hear right. They just want to hear, yes, Amasa, hand me my envelope. Yes, Amasa, hand me my envelope. Dele Farotimi is just a priceless commodity. the way he finds a way to break these things down to ABC. The only thing is he talked from a Yoruba viewpoint when it comes to these values and norms. The reality is that every tribe in Nigeria have those values and norms. It's everywhere. The only difference is that Yorubas tend to really be very boisterous and promotional about theirs, which is something I admire in them. Igbos have the same values. Ibibios have the same values. Edos, Fulanis, Hausas, Igberas, Urobos, they all have those same values. But like he said, it's criminals that have taken over our beautiful value systems. And the question now is, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to address those tribalistic elements within us? Tribalistic Igbos, tribalistic Yorubas, tribalistic Fulanis and Hausas and all those people, those four especially, the tribalistic elements among them, who always come out and talk about these values like, in our system we have values. Nothing in Bola Ahmed Tinubu's life from the beginning till now has demonstrated an iota of him picking up any of those values in the way he lives his life. Yet, tribalistic Yorubas line up behind Bola Ahmed Tinubu on one hand, as on your mandate, they follow his mandate. And the same tribalistic Yorubas, whether they're in Lagos or Ibadan or Chicago or New York, will come here to you when you're talking to them to tell you about the values we grew up with, the tradition of our forefathers. Total nonsense. The same thing I tell Igbos that try to tell me, oh, Igbos are this, Igbos are this, Igbos will not tolerate this. The values that our forefathers left us, it's the same values that our forefathers left us that produced Chimaroke, produced Dojuzokalo, produced Rochas, produced Hope Uzodinma. Folks, let's stop being sentimental about our tribes. Let's start calling a spade a spade. Let's take our country back as one people. We can do it. The only thing that can change Nigeria is a revolution. You can sit around and be scared people are gonna die and all that. The reality is that in process of that dying, somebody in Tinubu's family may die too. Somebody in Chimaroke's family may die too. Somebody in Ojikalo's family may die too. Somebody in Ganduje's family may die too. In a revolution, the death is now one-sided. The only way you deal with these idiots, Wike and his gang, is fire for fire. That's the only language they can understand. Other than the language of violence, there's no change worthwhile that this group is equipped to bring Nigerians. They are empty heads. They don't know how to do anything else but embezzle money and kill people. That's about it. Folks, are these the people you expect to bring change to your country? Is that the change you're seeking? Gbajabiamila was indicted in the state of Georgia in the United States for dipping into his client's funds. But he's now the chief of staff to the president. Prior to that, he had the powerful position of Speaker of the House in Nigeria. Isn't that shameful? Then you have the Senate president, Godswill Akpabio. He left his state, they raided his house, found millions of dollars in cash. He has an EFCC case that has not been fully answered. Even as Senate President, trying to confirm the new EFCC chairman, they referenced his EFCC case. Then you have the leader of the APC political party, which is the biggest dupe in Nigeria. He's the former governor of Kano State, who had millions of dollars in cash found in his house. Then the man who gave the judgment at the Supreme Court is Justice Inyang Okoro. He had his own case with EFCC. Then the wife of the former governor of Rivers State, who is now a Supreme Court judge, she has her case, or she had her case with EFCC. They got her out of it, then she connived with them to rip Nigerians off of a fair election. Then you have Wole Soyinka, and albeit a very respectable man, who I still believe is a respectable man, but he can't even stand up for the truth. He too is supporting the same drug dealer. All of a sudden, Wole Soyinka cannot tell the truth. Then you have the Chief Justice of the Federation, the man who was deliberately submitted, his name was submitted to become Chief Justice, unbeknownst to Nigerians, that was when Bola Ahmed Tinubu started plotting his rigging of the election to become president of Nigeria. And how much can I say about the Chief Justice? But what his own colleague in the Supreme Court said about him. I want you to listen to what his colleague, who is retiring, said about him. But I even have my own questions about the retiring Supreme Court judge.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria is the chairman of the National Judicial Council, NJC, which oversees both the appointment and discipline of judges. He is equally chair of the Federal Judicial Service Commission, the National Judicial Institute, NJI, the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee, LPPC, that appoints senior advocates of Nigeria. In my considered opinion, the oversight functions of these bodies should not rest on one individual. A person with absolute powers, it is said, corrupts easily and absolutely. As chair of NJC, FJSC, NJI, and LPPC, appointments as council, board, and committee members are at his pleasure. He neither confers with fellow justices nor seeks their counsel or input on any matter related to these bodies. He has both the final and the only say. The Chief Justice of Nigeria has power to appoint 80% of members of the council and 60% of members of the Federal Judicial Service Commission. The same applies to NGI and LPPC. Such enormous powers are effortlessly abused.
Really, I'm very appreciative of this retiring or just retired Supreme Court Justice. But I hope I'm not the only one who is wondering, why is he saying this now? Why wasn't this said years ago? If this Chief Justice has all this power, and this retiring justice has these kind of concerns, he couldn't be the only justice on that bench who has these concerns. Does it mean that justices are just in a stranglehold? And here is another one. I don't even know how to take this, but in Igbo language we say "Taobo," So today is early enough. Let's not ignore these things and the significance of them. It's okay that they sing late than that they never sing at all. And he's singing from an honest standpoint. Let's save our democracy. These people are corrupt. I told you they are corrupt. Let's listen.
Don't react to anything. Has any politician told you that he's not a thief? Tell me one politician that has told you that he's not a thief. Tell me one. I don't know why you're gathering forgery, no forgery. What politician told you that he didn't forge? Which politician told you he went to university? Which politician told you he served in NYSC? Which politician told you he has a certificate? Nigerians know and still vote for them. So what's your problem? What other people resist, like in Ghana, as is going on now, like in Kenya, is what Nigerians, no worry, not be 4 years. After 4 years, he will go. The man wins the second term, whether by magic or by crook or by reason. It's not be only 8 years. No be good luck, no be good luck don't go so, no be worry don't go so. He go soon go. Another person will come and repeat the same thing. You'll be saying that until the day God will come. For those of us who are Christians. So I have chosen to be like you, say nothing, hear and do.
Folks, it is the death of our democracy. On paper, we still have a country. On paper, we still have a democracy. But no democracy survives when it's overseen by thugs, shameless thugs. Look at how we joke about it. And then it's a press conference. And I'm waiting for one person in that press conference to ask any serious question. And all I'm hearing is giggling. And he'll walk away and tomorrow he'll tell you, oh, I speak to the press. You have a president who's been in office for 5 months from the day he started his campaign until this day. He hasn't had one serious interview with one serious journalist. It's the death of a democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Fred Nwanko coming to you from our studios in Chicago with a very painful edition of Bold Talk on Island TV. Until next time, good night and God bless.
I'm